Craveable Podcast, Episode 9, Turkey Talk.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, and welcome to the Craveable Podcast, where real matters. We're your hosts, Ben and Katie, and the show is brought to you by Fossil Farms. Ben, what are we talking about today? You want to share with the audience?
We're talking about America's second greatest bird.
Okay, I'm going to need to know what your opinion of America's first greatest bird is.
That's an easy question to answer. The American bald eagle is number one, obviously. Mm-hmm. And number two is, drumroll please.
Oh, I'm not supposed to do that.
Oh, TJ will hate that in post. It's the turkey.
It is the turkey. So why are we, we're talking about turkey. We have Thanksgiving coming up, the holiday season, everyone's different. A lot of people, think turkey is synonymous with Thanksgiving. I also know a decent amount of people that have turkey for Christmas.
On sandwiches.
That's a big one. Another big one. I know I've heard you say several times prior to the recording of this about what your favorite holiday is. So why don't you share with our viewership what your favorite holiday is and why?
It's Thanksgiving, if you had to guess, because it's the best American food holiday, and two, it has a deep-seated history in America, and three, it's one of the few that my family adopted, because my parents are both German immigrants. My mom stayed in the U.S., and she loves Thanksgiving. So we all get together before the holidays, and the holidays are always like a little bit more tension, a little bit more stuff going on towards the end of the year. Thanksgiving's like this kind of relaxed day. We're cooking the whole day beforehand, cooking the whole day the next day, eating until we pass out, basically literally rather than figuratively. Like, I don't know about your family. We never get to dessert. We'll have like 2 pies. They probably won't get touched, and I'll end up taking a whole pie home. Might be also another reason that I like it so much. Free pie. Can't go wrong with that. But the star of the show is our topic for today. The infamous turkey.
The turkey.
Yeah. How do you feel about Thanksgiving?
I like Thanksgiving.
Sorry.
I really enjoy Thanksgiving. It's what it is for me and my family, at least, has changed a lot throughout the years. So, when I was younger and, my grandparents were still with us, there'd be a lot of times, we'd go up there. I think most Thanksgivings we would. And that was usually more of a, bigger family affair. Always really, really loved that. And then, at one point my parents got divorced, and then things kind of got complicated. It's like, where do we go?
I get it.
And wanting to hang out with everyone, you know what I mean? And I mean, your dad is in another country, so it's a bit of an easier decision to make. And like, obviously no hostility or anything, but it's like, okay, we got to plan this out. How are we going to do this? Are we going to do a Thanksgiving in one house on Thanksgiving, and then a Thanksgiving in another house on not Thanksgiving? And then my brother goes and gets married. That's a whole nother sector of the family now.
Yeah, they have their own family going on.
They have their own family. And
little Cameron.
Yeah, little Cameron. And my sister-in-law is wonderful, and there's her family. So I think we've actually spent Thanksgiving with her family in Long Island at least once. And then I think it was last year we all went to my brother and sister-in-law's house. They now have 2 sons. So there's that. So it's always trying to figure out where to go. And my mom lives in Massachusetts, and so she'll either be invited down here or we got to check up there. And it's like me and my brother want to be somewhere at the same time. So
I'm stressed out.
It's very complicated, and it's hard to not make it stressful because, as you said, your and my work lives around that time of year are a small ball of contained stress.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I can't stress about the holiday. Just someone sit down and feed me turkey. And that's another problem, is that now I'm like responsible for cooking things, Right. When I was a kid, I could just sit around and goof off and then sit down to a meal. Now it's like, my mom's like, oh, can you help me with this? And then 10 minutes later, I'm like making the entire turkey and the rest of the meal.
Kitchen. Right.
So that's, there's a lot more involved, a bit more pressure, but I do really like Thanksgiving, and anytime, you get to see family is always enjoyable for sure.
Yeah, it's one thing managing a grocery list for Thanksgiving, but managing a list of people's emotional reactions to where you host Thanksgiving.
You can say that again.
Is its own nightmare. But I do really enjoy Thanksgiving. I also get stuck doing a lot of the cooking. My family will do most of the prep for me. And then I get to take care of the bird, as they say. And we'll get into like why we cook them and things like that. And in a way, I think a lot of Americans, because we were joking.
Cook them. You don't eat raw turkey? Your
not
turkey
anymore.
Isn't raw?
No.
You're crazy for that.
I was
bro.
raw feeding with my dog, and my dog was
Crazy
like, that's for me.
that,
And I was
man.
like, you're right. That's all you.
Fair enough.
But the turkeys that we get, since we work at Fossil Farms, we happen to get a free turkey through Fossil Farms. And we were joking before this that we'll probably only ever get our turkey through Fossil Farms, or really from the farm that we work with as a company, which is Goffle Road Poultry.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing turkey. It's called a Nicholas breed turkey. It's a beautiful white turkey. If you've never seen it, these things are absolutely ridiculous. Like, people used to not really care about the bird until we got this in our family. And now it's definitely the star of the show. We're a big dark meat family. I don't know about you guys.
We mix it up, but same here. It's like, no matter what happens, I think one year my mom was doing, it might have been last year, she was doing Thanksgiving with her boyfriend's family or something. And, I had the free turkey that I was lucky enough to get, that I was doing with the gathering that I was at. And she's like, oh, can I please get just a turkey breast? I really want the nice Fossil Farms turkey. And, I don't know. And she's in Massachusetts, so there are some local farms that she could go to.
Yeah.
And avoid a store-bought butterball. But right. Yeah, she just had to have it. Ever since I've been bringing them home, it's like, that's the turkey we need, don't want anything else.
Yeah. And a lot of Americans happen to get a free turkey. Ours happens to be the best in the country, I'm going to say. I've not tried every single one, so there's a heavy amount of bias on that. Definitely the best on the East Coast that I can think of. But there's a huge delineation in what turkey is. Like we were joking before, like people only have turkey on Thanksgiving. They have it on deli sandwiches, which are like this amalgamation of like a breast put together with meat glue that you eat. I eat it. It's fine. Whatever. We don't have to go down that road.
Kind of creepy.
But yeah, it's kind of gross. And those turkeys are gross because, like we've talked about with factory farming, like they're put through a lot of stress. They're in cages that they can't move. And that's not exactly what we get. I mean, we're not getting like this pristine pasture raised by a guy with a corncob pipe raising a handful of turkeys at the same time. Like, this is still a commercially produced turkey, but there's a huge delineation of the process of raising a bird in a space that it can actually walk around and spread its wings and enjoy its life, get a little fresh water, peck its neighbor to say hello, that sort of thing. But the quality is just unparalleled because, like we were talking about before, I mean, with commercially raised turkeys, like you have to do so much to it to actually make it into something. Like, do you want to talk about how they brine?
Yeah, for sure.
Commercial turkeys?
I know that most commercial turkeys are pre-brined or injected with a brine fluid. So that's really just to give it some flavor, any flavor to start with.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting. As we've gone over previously, I've been here for over 6.5 years, and every single November and a couple months prior to those 6.5 years, been talking turkey, working with, either consumers that come in the retail store, consumers that shop online, restaurants, retailers, things like that. And a question that I've gotten often from kind of more the consumer side is, oh, are your turkeys brined?
Yeah.
And when I first heard that, I was kind of confused. I was like, why would they be brined? Like, what,
pickled turkey?
I don't understand. And of course the answer is no, they're just brine. And a lot of people will say, oh, I want to brine it in this fashion for this many days. When do you recommend me getting it in or picking it up? Something like that. And I'll always give them my honest answer. I'll say, listen, you are more than welcome to brine it, dry or wet brine, but I have never brined this turkey. And I know most of my colleagues don't brine it either because it really doesn't need it.
Right.
And, I have had people that brine it and they're like, oh, this is amazing. And everyone that doesn't brine it also says, oh, this is amazing. And it's just the feedback we get is crazy. Now I'm like pulling a Ben. I'm going off.
Well, we go on these tangents because
I'm going off target here.
We're coming, like, turkey season at Fossil Farms is absolutely what's the polite word?
Bonkers.
Nightmarish?
Oh, wow.
No, it's like its own fun little ball of chaos, like you're saying, like a contained amount of chaos, because we happen to sell, what did we do last year? Like 12,000 and change full turkeys, not pounds, like it's hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Oh, yeah, at least. For some reason, I thought 14,000, but 12 is probably more accurate.
Yeah, between 12 and 14,000 turkeys a year, which is a lot. It's a blip in the commercial industry for how many turkeys are raised a year, in who knows what fashion. But for us, that's a lot of birds to move through a very small warehouse to a lot of people, and to line that up, especially for something that's sold as a fresh product, literally so everybody can have it on one day of the year. That is a dance that we do around here. I mean, we have the managers. I mean, even we'll let's call them the C-suite people will actually be back in the warehouse organizing pallets upon pallets of turkey. Like you've walked in there like 100%. My license says I'm 5'10". Who cares if that's true? You're a little bit shorter than I am. The pallets are feet taller than we are. It's like walking into the labyrinth. Like you turn the corner, you see one of your employees, turn another corner, there's a minotaur. But it becomes this kind of chaos. And people, and we're proud to do it. And I mean that sincerely, because these are such amazing quality birds. People know us for turkey. Like, yeah, we're a game meat company. People are like, oh, that's a place I get elk, I get my guinea hen, whatever. But you talk to some people who are like, oh, I literally only go to Fossil Farms for turkey. And it's not because of Fossil Farms, because of what Goffel Road does in raising these turkeys in Pennsylvania for the Amish. By the Amish, they raise a Nicholas Brie turkey. It's not brined. They raise them a few months in advance. They all get slaughtered right before Thanksgiving. That place is absolutely cranking. They bag them for us. They send it to us and we sell it fresh for those like 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving. But if you're going to go to ShopRite and get your 99-cent pound Butterball turkey or your free turkey, I have no idea where they can get millions of turkeys fresh. Well, they aren't fresh. I mean, have you ever gotten a free turkey that's not frozen? Might have been slaughtered in January. And then they just keep them in a freezer, throw them in a poly bag, and seal them up with a pack date, quote unquote. I'm doing it to the camera. Watch us on YouTube. And they could be sitting in the freezer for who knows how long. And it's just gross.
Yeah.
And I'll say that emphatically. I think if you're eating a Butterball turkey, you're doing yourself a disservice. You might actually be doing yourself harm.
Well, I guess that's true, citing some of our previous episodes. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly like what you said. If you know, I don't know if we've ever used this. We definitely think you've used this phrase, is there's no such thing as cheap meat, meaning there are, for what you perceive as cheap meat, there are costs attached to it that aren't on the price tag. The costs are to yourself, your family, the environment, the welfare of the animal. I mean, there are costs. And think about it, like, how can anyone afford to just give away thousands of free turkeys in a society that literally thrives on profits and money? I mean, It just doesn't make sense. But
it does.
Well, I mean, it does because like what you were saying. So, not only are they, think about the volume, for example, that like Butterball will put out, right? The amount of turkeys that I don't even, hundreds of thousands, would you say? Like, yeah.
Millions? Probably.
Probably
because any of the stuff that they don't use, they're probably going to turn into deli meats or dog food or whatever.
So let's say there's millions of turkeys being sold for Thanksgiving by Butterball or whomever. Sorry to keep dropping it on you guys.
They have the worst one. Sorry if you listen to this, we don't care.
Oh my God. But so how do you think all of those turkeys are getting processed, and how do you think that they're coming up with that amount of turkeys for that time of the year? So you're right. They're being raised and processed, slaughtered, and packaged all throughout the year. And another thing with that volume is, you're not raising it the same way that, a heritage turkey raised by a small farmer would. They're going to be in crowded, cramped pens. They don't have as long a life as the heritage turkeys because they're pumped full with all these hormones and steroids to basically make them blow up to the point where, like, their muscles can't even catch up with them. They're too big to even be supported by their legs.
Right.
And they're all crammed together in this warehouse, just basically being like artificially pumped up. Yeah. And it's just not, that's why it's an inferior product among many other reasons. Like, that's a huge one.
Yeah. And just no flavor, which is the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like we joke all the time, or rather I do, when I'm making my turkey for Thanksgiving, and I hope other people will follow this lead after they hear it. I know you already do, is that I'm not waiting to sit down at my dinner table. And we do a late Thanksgiving. I sit down for Thanksgiving dinner at like 7. We don't do it like 2 o'clock. So I'm like gonna have a bottle of white wine because I'm using it both for my gravy and when I'm roasting the turkey. So I'm gonna be like 3 quarters of the way through the bottle. I was going to say 3 glasses, but I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, you have a big, heavy pour, Katie. But like, I leave the turkey in and I go to check on it. I'll temp it. I'm like, I'm at 150, whatever. I got to get up to like, I'll pull it at like 160, 165, let it raise. Cause we like the legs to go a bit longer. And then, so I know you're smiling already. So I come back.
I remember last year.
I come back every single year and I'm always temping the leg. I came back after like 150, came back like maybe an hour later, probably way too long. An hour later, which is way too long. It's temping at like 180 in the leg. I'm like, oh no, we've gone too far.
You've gotten too far, matey.
And then I pull it out and we let it rest, and you cut into the breast and it's still juicy. Like I've totally ruined this bird every single year and it's still unbelievably good despite itself, or despite me, because of the quality of that turkey. Is it the intermuscular fat? Is it, just the juiciness genetically? It could be a multitude of factors. Goffle Road, just for your own reference, does have its own genetic line of Nicholas Brie turkeys that they've been raising for a few generations. So that is their turkey. When we talk about it, it's not them pulling in pullets or anything like that from another alternative breeder and then raising them on the farms. They have the genetic stock that they're working off for this. And then it turns into just a ridiculous
whatever
bird.
The heck Ben makes.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's hilarious because I remember last year, first of all, you came back and you were like, well, I drank more wine than I intended. And I overcooked the turkey.
I drank as much wine as I intended.
All the time. But no, so the way that the turkeys are raised for Goffle Road Farms poultry is, they're raised, like Ben said, it's not, 12 turkeys galloping around in a field. They're raised in very, very large open air pens. They're not walled in from the outside. And they have plenty of room in each of these large pens. So these turkeys, like you said, peck your neighbor hello, and they have room to run around, walk around, stretch their wings, grow their muscles naturally. These turkeys are raised for Thanksgiving. They're not being, pumped out throughout the year. They're raised carefully and slowly by farmers who care about what they're doing and care about the animals and, every part of the process. And so that is what's going to lead to the better quality of the meat, the better quality of the fat, the skin. I mean,
let's
I have to tell you,
skin. Let's do it.
I have to. Well, yeah.
I thought that's where you were going.
Well, we can go there. I know that's like your favorite part about poultry.
Yeah.
But I mean, I literally, like I said, been here over 6.5 years. Every single human being that I have ever spoken to about our turkey has either just raved about it endlessly or straight up said that was the best turkey I've ever eaten in my life. In my life, like. Hundreds of people have said that to me.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, it's amazing. It's a superior product and it speaks for itself. And once you have either a turkey from Goffle Road Poultry or, depending on your location, from a local farm that is doing the same thing and raising them, in small batches and treating them right, I mean, that's going to be the best turkey you've ever had. Now let's shift gears and talk about the crispy skin.
The skin is the best part, hands down.
It puts the butter on the skin?
It puts the butter on the skin.
On the skin.
Well, let's start with why the skin is the best. You don't brine, but you do season the night before, right? Or you
I don't even do that.
No, you don't even.
No, I just leave it. Just take it out of the bag that morning. Get going. Get after it.
You're like, it'll be fine.
It's
a Goffle Road turkey. It's going to be fine.
That's what I said. Watch me ruin it.
I do the dry brine. Essentially, I just like mix a bunch of seasonings and salt together, get it in the cavity, get it on the skin, pop it in the fridge uncovered overnight, because the skin is the best thing that off the bird.
And all of our chefs out there, you know why he's leaving it uncovered overnight.
Right, so it dries out. Chefs. Exactly.
And dry skin equals
crispy skin.
Crispy skin, that's 100% right.
And then, so one year we did that, and it was just it was 4 of us, and we actually took kitchen shears and we cut the whole sheet of skin off of the breastplate, off of like a 16-pound turkey. So picture like a like like a 1x1 square, like 1 foot by 1 foot square.
Clarify your unit of measure there, please.
Meters. And we cut that whole thing off, chopped it into strips, and we just stood there before even sitting down for dinner.
This is your family?
Eating the skin. Yeah, my family. And we're all ecstatic about it because that's what we're there for, because we all love the turkey skin.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of ties into the great things about Thanksgiving is like that joy of food, which is something that speaks volumes to me. Is like the shared experience, right? It's something universal. And I think the importance of where Thanksgiving comes from and it being the end of the harvest and the gathering and the giving of thanks, I think it, like you were saying, like it's worth going out of your way to find the best turkey you can, no matter where that might be locally to you. If you have to order one, please do. It's definitely worth the expense.
Mm-hmm.
Green beans on the side certainly aren't very expensive. So the money can go into the bird, please. But it's the importance of treating yourself and giving thanks to all the hard work you've done throughout the year, of traditionally looking at the peak part of the harvest with the sides that we make, with the sweet potatoes, with the yams, with the squash. I mean, I guess green beans are a little bit more summery, but you'll still have some left over.
That's totally
yeah,
traditional,
before going into the winter,
yeah,
you know?
That's totally traditional. And, kind of touching on what you were saying, like Thanksgiving is, it's a holiday built around families getting together and everyone giving thanks for each other and pretty much everything they're thankful for in their life. And like, how good do you actually feel, looking at you, about putting, a free turkey that's been frozen for 7 months down as the centerpiece of that table? I mean, even if it's not, like I was saying, even if it's not from, Goffle Poultry here in New Jersey, there are farms all around the country that do this. And, you owe it to yourself and to your family and your loved ones. You all deserve, and you all have worked hard all year to sit down to, a centerpiece that you're truly proud of, and that you can specifically say, this is what's best for the farmer who raised it, for the turkey, for the environment, for our bodies, and most importantly, for our taste buds.
Yeah, exactly. And now we get into the second best part of Thanksgiving, which is the sides. Because everybody always wants to know, right?
All right. Yeah, okay. This is
I know you want to start. You're already gung-ho.
No, you and I listen to the same. Well, you don't listen to the radio anymore because you got a nice fancy car. But
no, but I'll listen. I'll pull that up on YouTube
around Thanksgiving,
when it happens.
things get crazy, man.
Yeah.
It is a debate. So, I mean, I would actually like you to start, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Tell me your opinion on sides.
Yeah, I'll tell you my opinion.
Okay.
No marshmallows, please.
Oh no, I hate. Yeah, I don't support that. I don't support that.
It's good, but it sweetens up the potato casserole too much. Just boil some sweet potatoes and put butter on them. It's good enough. It doesn't need sugar. Huge mashed potato guy. Big gravy guy. Gravy is super important. I mean, if somebody needs tips on gravy, we're going to do a short just on our gravy.
We have to talk about gravy.
Let's do gravy. Let's do gravy right now.
Okay, so obviously you make your homemade gravy.
It's not true. I cheat. I cheat the way our store manager Liz does. But I do what I'll call a reinforced gravy.
Semi-homemade by Sandra Lee.
Sort of. You go first then, too, and I'll embarrass myself when you're done.
No, I think, before I was, like, involved at all in the cooking, I can't really speak to what happened back then. Those were dark days. But no, I always do try to make it homemade for sure. I definitely did last year. And then I remember at one point my family being like, we don't have to do that or this and that. I don't know. It depends who's there. Like, I have the 17 groups of people I spend Thanksgiving with. So, and then my boyfriend's family now too exists. There's 25 different groups of people that I need to hang out with. And it depends. It depends on who's cooking. It depends on the gathering. It depends on what those people, the traditions they came from. But I love a good homemade gravy. Not going to lie. Love it.
I'm not making a roux. I don't have time.
Pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. You just cooked a whole turkey. I've done it. Yes, I can imagine. I did it last year.
In my cups? Working with flour? It'd be everywhere.
Well, it's a pain because you've been literally cooking all day. That's probably the last thing you're going to do.
Right.
You just took the turkey out and now you're going to sit there and make yeah. It's a pain, a royal pain. Let's hear about Ben's semi-homemade
Yeah,
cooking.
so here's the cheat. And it really depends on if you're a McCormick's or a Knorr household. Doesn't matter.
Is it pronounced Knorr?
I don't know.
Up for debate.
I'm German. I'd say Knorr.
Knorr.
Das ist Knorr.
Knorr.
Not important. But what I do is I'll actually take the wings off, take the neck out, giblet pack. It goes straight into the garbage. Don't care for it. Don't
that
think it
happens
adds
before you cook the turkey, I hope. Right?
Yeah, no, this is afterwards.
Cook it in there with the plastic.
Exactly.
I did that once with a pheasant.
Exactly. It adds a flavor. You know?
With the plastic?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm like, what's that? What is that? Is that the
Cancer.
gas station? But no, I take everything out, take the neck, sear that off, take the wings, sear those off, and then I'll basically make like a really strong stock with just that. Brown some onion in there, garlic, and I'll just let that sit on the stovetop the night before going maybe until I go to bed and then start them again.
For some reason I have
Yeah, no, this is just like the raw.
Okay.
So I'm taking those roasted pieces and essentially making like a turkey stock. And I just let that reduce like crazy. And then I'll do the pan drippings at the end. And under my bird goes onions, carrots, celery, garlic, tons and tons of herbs, and like half a bottle of white wine to kind of keep it a little bit moist. And that adds a lot of flavor into those vegetables. I press all of those drippings out when the turkey comes out and press all the veggies and get all that jus. I'll double strain that just to get all the bits out. Mix that with my turkey stock, reduce that like crazy. And I mean, we're only getting maybe a quart of gravy total because it's so fortified.
Yeah.
And then in goes the turkey gravy packet. You know why? Because it's got all the binders and stabilizers to make it the right texture, the right mouthfeel, so to speak. And I'm not doing that with a roux. I can't be bothered. And you get a little bit more of that like kind of MSG umami flavor to it. It makes you come back to it. You're tricking your body, all right? And it's unbelievably good. You get that sheen of oil on the top from it having the jus and the drippings and stuff like that. Nobody knows any better. Except for everybody in the house that's watched me do it.
How is the McCormick packet of gravy supposed to be made? Is it supposed to be like you just put water?
Yeah, literally just water.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good trick. That's definitely semi-homemade by Ben Lehar. I love it.
Don't judge me.
So for me, for size, I also don't like the marshmallows on the sweet potatoes. I know we do a company Thanksgiving here every year, and sometimes, that dish arrives, and I always eat it, and like it's not
careful.
It's not the worst thing. Yeah, well, I know, it's a personal preference. I mean,
yeah, right.
I will be honest with you, that dish is a staple in so many people's home. Like, that is something that many people will probably tell you cannot be left out of their Thanksgiving meal. But again, Thanksgiving I celebrate, that just changes based on the rotating wheel of where I'm celebrating.
So you're seeing small marshmallows, big marshmallows, fluff spreads. I mean, the amount of marshmallows they're using on these sweet potatoes is out of hand.
That's not what I meant, Benjamin. Very funny. But no, it definitely varies. I mean, there's usually some type of green bean, some variety.
Love the green beans, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Brussels sprouts person right here. Like, one of my favorite vegetables. Usually try to make sure that's somewhere on the table. My dad, if he's cooking, usually gets pretty elaborate. He'll get whatever the current year's, like Fine Dining magazine or something, and he'll pick out a couple like pretty soigné, nice recipes and make those. So that's, and he always does something different too. Next to the turkey, it'd be like a variation of whatever. So that's interesting. Love a mashed potato. I personally love mac and cheese just as an item to eat, but that never usually makes it at the Thanksgiving table.
Unfortunately, same, yeah. Not a big mac and cheese family over here. Me, yes, but the family, no.
It's like not, it just never was. What else? Stuffing.
Stuffing is king.
Huge. This is another possibly divisive topic. And you know what I'm going to say? In the bird or outside the bird?
Both.
And I know that you do both.
I do both.
So excessive.
It's amazing. You got to get the jus soaked wet slop stuffing out of the bird. If it's a textural nightmare for you, I don't care because it is so flavorful. It's like eating flavored bread, savory bread pudding, basically, right?
Pretty much exactly what it is, I think.
Also, we do boxed stuffing at my house. Don't judge. Can't be bothered. I'm not buying bread 3 days in advance to dry it out. Whatever. It's what my family likes, so that's fine. And then we do the stuffing like in a little casserole dish with knobs of butter on top, put that in the oven. And it's amazing. I
mean, that's my preferred for sure. I really enjoy stuffing, so I will eat it either way, but I definitely will go for the oven baked. I don't know. It's hard though, because I totally hear you on the flavor, but I feel like what ends up inside my turkey is more often like, chunks of onion and garlic and herbs and maybe half a lemon or something like that. But yeah, stuffing, that's definitely a must have. cranberry sauce of some sort. I prefer like homemade or fresh. Like I do not mess with the lined out of the jar cranberry, out of the can cranberry
It's my mom's
sauce.
favorite.
It's a lot of people's favorite, Ben.
It's
just
weird.
like the sweet potato marshmallow concoction. But no, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have any like this must be here, except for gravy. If we're having turkey, then I need to have that.
I mean, it's the must-haves of the turkey, the gravy. For me, stuffing, mashed potatoes. Those are the ones I can get away with. Those are the ones we make the most of to have leftovers. Carrots, big carrot guy. You know, I don't know if you care at all about that, but sorry.
Welcome to the podcast again, ladies and gentlemen.
But there's so much that goes on. And that's the thing that I really love about Thanksgiving and it being an American-centric holiday, right? Because my family is immigrants. There's lots of immigrants of this generation that have come over. I mean, there's Italian Americans, Irish Americans, there's Korean Americans, there's Indian Americans, there's people from everywhere that celebrate Thanksgiving. And I would love nothing more than to try every single family's Thanksgiving dinner just to see the twist that they put on it or the sides that they put on it. Because everybody's doing the turkey, maybe some kind of roast, but usually the turkey is the star of the show. It's the star of this episode. And I would just love to see someone doing like, say you go to someone's house and there's a giant turkey and they're about to take the stuffing out and it's like biryani and you're like, what? This is amazing. Or, you know, they're doing like fried turkey satay skewers or something. Like you would be like blown away. Just like these twists on something that is quintessentially American. And what is also quintessentially American is the story of the American immigrant, of people coming to this country to find their way. And then again, just celebrating all the hard work that they've done and sitting down and giving thanks for that. I mean, it really is, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think both of us challenge you to do something better this year with your turkey, with your holiday. You know, if you're not going to go to Goffle or get their turkey through us, go to your local farm, you know, find someone around you that sells that better turkey because you owe it to yourself and your family, and it's going to be the best meal ever because of it. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe and tune in next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.